Okay, guys, we still on for tonight? Asked Georgia as she bounded out of the Volkswagen Bug. Yep, I am, excitedly replied Jasmine. She was behind the wheel of her mom's car. Me too, added Courtney, and she turned to look at Jonah. How about you, Jonah? You're going too, right? Yeah, replied Jonah sheepishly. Hey, Jonah, haven't you been to the old Chester house before? Asked Georgia. No, I haven't, he said, looking down and pushing his glasses up on his nose. Jonah was Georgia's cousin, and she was practically forced to babysit him, even though they were the same age. Wait, started Courtney. Wasn't that girl who was killed there a friend of yours? No, not exactly a friend, Jonah began to clarify. She was just my neighbor. Cool, squealed Jasmine. We can use the Ouija board to try and contact her. Yeah, all the girls chimed in. I don't know, squeaked Jonah. That's kind of weird. Shit, said Georgia. That's not weird. That's kick ass right there. Jonah got out of the car, too. He was going to walk home from Georgia's house, and then the other girls drove off. Come on, Jonah. Don't be like that. Let go once in a while. Have some fun. Jesus, chastised Georgia. It got old that her friends were the only people that he'd talk to. It wasn't George's fault that he had, whatever his mom called it, social anxiety. Anyway, we'll pick you up around 8:30, all right, Jonah? Okay, I suppose so, but don't honk or anything. I'm just going to crawl out my window so my mom doesn't know. Okay, see you then, yelled Georgia. She ran up the stairs. She slammed the door behind her before he even got a chance to reply. Yeah, bye. When Jonah walked into his house, his mom hugged him and asked how his day was. It was fine, replied Jonah. Nothing special. Hey, started his mom, you gonna do anything tonight? No, I don't feel well, Mom. My stomach's upset. Come on, Jonah. You need to get out and do stuff. You need some fun in your life. Yeah, that's what I keep hearing, he replied as he grabbed his dinner plate and went to his room. At 8:30 on the dot, the green bug pulled up outside Jonah's house. He crawled out of the window, walked out to the car, pushed his glasses up on his nose, got in. This is going to be so cool, squealed Jasmine. I know, I can't wait, said Courtney. And then they were on their way. When they rolled up to the old Chester house, it was completely dark. Not just the house, but there were no streetlights. The sky was cloudy, so the moon wasn't even glowing. The four of them stepped out of the car and stood there in silence. They were taking in the scene. The house was beautiful, built 150 years ago. Off to the side of the house, the gardener's shack. The grounds, of course, were overgrown. The 12-foot wrought iron gate was imposing all by itself. On either side was an eagle with its wings spread as if it was going to take off in flight at any moment. In writing, in the shape of a half circle, was written, Chester. Come on, urged Courtney. Let's get this thing going, scaredy cats. I'm not scared, declared Jasmine. Me either, added Georgia. Jonah didn't say anything. He grabbed his backpack from the car, and as the girls squeezed in between the bars of the gate, Jonah put his bag in first, and then he did the same. As they walked up the stairs, they creaked a little under the weight of their own foots. Georgia checked the front door, expecting they would be locked. The knob was large, and brass, she thought. The door knocker had an eagle like the one on the gate. The knob did turn, though, and opened slowly. Its weight seemed to help it open the entire way. They took their flashlight and began to look around. The furniture was covered in sheets to protect it. Georgia took off one of the sheets off the couch, and it was gorgeous. Deep red velvet, ornate woodwork along the back and the armrests, hand-carved swirls that gave way to leaves and ivy. There was a chandelier hanging above the sitting room in the living room, and the reflections of the flashlight made it twinkle. The twinkles were dancing all around the room. There was an extraordinarily large fireplace. It was large enough to stand in, and Courtney was. Wow, said Jasmine. "This is the most beautiful place I've ever seen." "Right?" replied Georgia. "Like movie beautiful or magazine beautiful." "It's okay, I guess," said Jonah. "It's dusty. Kind of gross." "Seriously?" asked Jasmine. "That's what you see? You're so negative." "I just mean," started Jonah. "It's creepy." "I don't think so," responded Georgia. "I think it's fancy, and only a princess should live here." She twirled around on the dusty wooden floor. "Maybe a ballerina," she went on. She placed her hand out to Courtney, who had moved from the fireplace. "Madame, might I have this dance?" Courtney placed her hand in Georgia's. "Well, yes, kind sir." And they began to dance and laugh. Jasmine was laughing so hard that her eyes were watering. Then Jonah broke in. "Hey, are we going to get this thing going or what? This is lame." "God, Jonah, what is your damage? Is your fun button broken?" "You always drag everything down." "I'm fine. I'm just not interested in foolishness." "Ooh," laughed Jasmine. "He's not interested in foolishness." The girls laughed at Jonah, and he began to wish he hadn't agreed to this. "Okay," said Georgia. "Who bought the Ouija board?" Courtney grabbed it from her backpack and brushed the dust off the table to place the board on top of it. They lit a couple of candles for light, and then they all sat around the table. "Who wants to go first?" asked Courtney. "Me!" yelled Jasmine, raising her hand in the air. "Me too," said Georgia. "I'll be next," added Courtney, "and Jonah can be my partner. Okay, Jonah?" "Yeah, okay," he said, looking down, his glasses sliding down the bridge of his nose. I'll let Jonah go first, and I'll be partners with Court," said Georgia, hoping that would start to have Jonah maybe having fun. "Okay, Jonah?" "Okay," he replied. Jasmine and Jonah placed their hands on the planchette. "Hey, Jonah, what's that girl's name?" "What girl?" he asked. "The neighbor who was murdered in here," replied Jasmine, irritated by his response. He knew damned well that girl. Shit, he's weird, she thought. "I don't know if it's okay to do that," whined Jonah. "Are you afraid?" asked Georgia. "Heck no," replied Jonah, trying to sound tough. "Then give it up, dude." "What's her name?" pushed Jasmine. Kate Jensen," shot Jonah. "Okay, kids, here we go. Jonah, lightly put your hands on it. Don't move it. Just concentrate." "I know how to do it, Jasmine," he replied. Damn, grouchy. "Is there anyone here?" asked Jasmine, and the planchette didn't move. "We're not here to hurt you," she continued. There was nothing. "You try, Jonah," said Jasmine. Is there anyone here?" he asked. The planchette began to move, slowly. It went up to the left corner and stayed over the word yes. The girls were really excited and giggling. "Stop!" snapped Georgia. "Do it!" "Go, Jonah," said Jasmine. "Do you have a name?" The planchette was moving all over the board. It was quickly moving back and forth. Jasmine's hand slipped off, and it was still moving. "Are you doing that, Jonah? Knock it off," said Courtney. "No, I'm not doing it," replied Jonah. The board began to wiggle, and Jonah's hand slipped off too, but the planchette continued to move. The crowd was stunned into silence, and they stared wide-eyed as the planchette began to go from letter to letter. K, A, T, E. "Whoa," said Georgia. "Shh," hissed Jasmine. J, E, N, S, E, N. "Holy shit," said Jonah, reacting for the first time. "I know who." "I can't," yelled Jonah. "This is bullshit." as he started to stand up. "Sit down," demanded Georgia. Her and Courtney put their hands on it. The planchette moved again. 3 will die. Jonah was angry. "I'm leaving, Georgia. You need to take me home." "No," snapped Georgia. "Not everything is about you, Jonah. Leave if you want to." And so he did, but not before slamming the large door behind him, making the whole house shake. "Well, I guess someone's mad," said Georgia. "What a d-bag. He knocked over the board." "What did it say?" asked Jasmine. "It said 3 will die." "Ooh," added Courtney. "Did you guys do that on purpose?" Jasmine demanded to know. "No, I barely had my fingers on it," said Courtney. "As a matter of fact, my fingers came off of it a couple times." "Okay, that's too freaky. I don't know if we should—" And in the middle of her sentence, a wind came through the room, blowing the flames of the candles to the side. "Whoa, is there a window open?" asked Georgia. "Jonah? Jonah, is that you?" Then the boards on the floor of the room above them creaked. "Knock it off, Jonah, you asshole!" yelled Jasmine. But there was no reply. "Hand me that flashlight," demanded Courtney, and she headed up the stairs. The house moaned with every step. "Hey, guys, there's a bathroom up here. I'm going to use it. I'll be back in a sec." "Be careful. 3 of us will die," replied Georgia. "Shut up," shot back Courtney. Georgia turned to Jasmine. "Will you help me pick some of this up?" And the candle still flickered from the breeze. "Yeah. Hey, do you smell that smell?" "Yeah, it smells like gasoline. I think it's the candles." "All right, I guess," replied Jasmine. "Hey, listen, I have to use the bathroom too. Do you mind if I leave you for a second?" "No, Court will be down soon. I'm just going to pick this up real quick so we can get out of here. My mom's going to be so pissed when she finds out that I let Jonah walk home alone." "Okay, cool. I'll be right back," said Jasmine. Georgia was putting the Ouija board into its box and covering the furniture when she heard a faint scream. "Jazz! Court!" she yelled. There was no reply. "Hey, this isn't funny." "All right, I'm coming up. You don't scare me." She picked up one of the candles for light, and when she hit the top of the stairs, she saw the flashlight shining from underneath the door. "Hey, guys, I have to get out of here or deal with the wrath of my mom. Let's go." She was irritated now. She opened the door, and she saw, on the floor, Courtney crumpled up by the toilet, Jasmine in the bathtub, one arm hanging out, her head turned in such a way that she looked like a Halloween decoration. A person's head just couldn't turn that way. The blood, looking black, running towards Georgia's feet. She ran down the stairs, the candle falling from her hands, pitch blackness. She banged her knee on the couch. The other candles were out, and she felt around until she could find the front door, and when she opened it, there was a person. She screamed out in terror until she heard the voice. "Georgia, it's me, Jonah." "Oh, my God, Jonah, we have to get out." She pushed past him. She was trying to tell him what had happened as she ran down the driveway towards the car, but she felt something grab her by her shirt collar and punch her in the back of the head. She was dizzy, yelling for Jonah to help. She was being pulled up the stairs, thump, thump, thump. Her limp body. "Jonah!" she cried out. She saw a flash of light in the fire, and it was the end of a sharp knife. She screamed, but the knife plunged into her 1, 2, 3 times. She finally saw a face, and it was Jonah's face. It was filled with rage. She heard him say, 3 will die, just like Kate did. His voice was different, not whiny, but mature. He wasn't wearing his glasses. Georgia died from her stab wounds. Later that night, the police pulled up in front of Jonah's house. His mother answered the door. They asked him if Jonah had gone out that night, and she said no, that he'd been sick. They asked if Jonah had ever gone to the old Chester place, and she said no, she didn't believe so. Jonah stayed in his bed with his covers pulled up to his neck. As soon as they left, Jonah smiled.